بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأغل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أغلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الظلم، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده، الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، مع حاجة بي إليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي، عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا، وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبت عني عتبت بجهلي عليك ولعل الذي يبطى عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد اللئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك كأن لي التطول عليك. فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجود عليهم بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه والحمد لله على عفه بعد قدرته والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله ولا شبيه يشاكله ولا ظهير يعضده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر على كل عورة وأنا أعصيه ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطى وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفى وبهجة مونقة قد أراني فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراته. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك. استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له. أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا. يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما غسرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وأعزز به ذلتنا، وأغن به عائلنا، واغض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وأنجح به طلبتنا، وأنجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، وأعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، وأعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق. آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجل وبضر تكشف ونصر تعز وسلطان حق تظهر ورحمة منك تجللنا وعافية منك تلمسنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak to each and every one of you, inshallah. And always remember that you're in our du'as, and inshallah we're in your du'as in these layali qadr, inshallah. So, last night we started a discussion entitled The Life and Legacy of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. And during these last 10 days of Shahr Ramadan, we want to discuss not just the life of Imam Ali alayhi salam, like last night we went over his miraculous birth inside the Kaaba. This evening we'll go over some aspects of his childhood. But really what we want to focus on in these last 10 days of Shahr Ramadan is the status and the legacy of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and especially in regards to the growth and development of Islam. So let's get started, inshallah, with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So last night we started by introducing our topic. And we started talking about the birth of Imam Ali. And before we even started that, we wanted to remind everybody that Zikr Ali, remembrance of Ali itself, is a form of worship. It's a form of ibadat. Love of Imam Ali is itself a form of ibadat. And we had said this last night, that even a sinner who has love of Imam Ali alayhi salam in his heart, even this sinner, we cannot merely judge him just based on his shortcomings or his faults. Because of that love of Amir al-Mu'mineen that exists in his heart, he can be led back to the truth, to Islam, to obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, life of Imam Ali alayhi salam itself is filled with miracles. And last night we mentioned one of them, his birth inside the Kaaba. And we're not going to go back over the whole thing, but I wanted to recap this evening what we said last evening, just to reiterate this point. Imam Ali alayhi salam is the only person ever to have been recorded to have been born inside the Kaaba. And last night we mentioned the status of the Kaaba as well. That the Kaaba was not just the religious centerpiece of Arabia at that time, but in Mecca and for Quraysh and for the tribe of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for his clan, Bani Hashim, for the people of Mecca, Kaaba was a central fixture in their life in every sense of the word. And we had mentioned it last night, socially, politically, economically. Everyone was in some way, shape, or form, directly or indirectly, dependent on the Kaaba in Mecca. And so when you combine these two things, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam being born inside the Kaaba, and when we add in there the status of the Kaaba, then the point we were trying to make last night by putting these two things together is that Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, being born inside the Kaaba, gives a status to Imam Ali in Mecca that would have been known and recognized by everyone. And so when we wonder, like, well, how come we don't put that much attention on it? How come when we study about Islam in our contemporary age, this particular aspect of the life of Imam Ali, we kind of just rush over it and run over it, It's just an interesting facet, right? And one of the reasons that not just this aspect of his life, his birth, but also the aspect that we'll talk about this evening, his childhood, his upbringing, why they've been downplayed, why they're run over very quickly so many times, is because of the envy that we mentioned last night. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, with his status and position, that he's born inside the Kaaba. This evening we'll talk about him being raised by Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His participation in the early years and the growth of Islam. All of this led to a feeling of envy in the hearts of some people towards Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali. And if there's one thing that we can say that has overshadowed the life of Imam Ali and made his life a little more obscure to us, unintelligible to us, almost unreachable to us, it's this envy that from the dawn of Islam hounded Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. It overshadows almost his life. So last night we wanted to make that very clear. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, with his status of being born inside the Kaaba, this status of his being known, and we had given the example last night of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, that the little baby that's brought home, and then everybody says, Maryam, where'd you get this baby from? And she points to the baby, and the baby talks. Everybody in town would have known who Isa was. I mean, there's no way that nobody doesn't know who Isa is in town. He becomes famous because of this. And he breathes into birds that he makes of clay, and they come alive and fly. So Isa's known in town, and in the same way, Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali, he's known in Mecca as the child that was born inside the Kaaba miraculously. This status will prove to be a sanad, a confirmation of Prophet's mission, of his prophethood in years to come. And maybe I didn't make this clear last night. We'll finish up this little explanation and move on to this evening's discussion. Prophets, last night we mentioned that when they come with miracles to prove and to confirm their prophethood. Every prophet has brought miracles. Generally speaking, the miracles that prophets bring conform to what the highest form of technology is in their day. Or whatever's prevalent in the society of their time. So, as an example, Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he came with quote-unquote magic. Because this was very prevalent in the society of his time. And the powers that he flexed on the Al Fir'aun, those Tawhidi powers, they crumbled the Fir'auni scientific establishment, right? Or Hazrat Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. At his time, medicine was the thing. And here comes Hazrat Isa curing the sick and doing what doctors can't do, raising the dead. right? And in Hazrat Rasulullah's time, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it was literature. Yani, expression in words and in writing was the highest art form. And so naturally, his greatest miracle will have to do with this, the Quran. But let's not leave out Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali. Ali also was one of his miracles. And his status would become something that confirms prophethood. Not just by his miraculous birth, but prophets, not just that they come and they bring miracles, but they need followers. And a prophet is judged, a leader, let's not even talk about prophets. A leader is judged by those who follow him. And it's telling that Prophet's first follower is Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, that same baby that was born inside the Kaaba. Alhamdulillah. Send a salawat and we'll continue, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You can send your salawat loud, so that people feel like, there's actually a big crowd here, Propaganda. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Khair. We won't go back over some of this other stuff. Let's skip right down to here. Khair. Oh boy, I can't find my place. Where am I? Here I am. Khair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In addition to being born inside the Kaaba, this miraculous birth of his inside of the Kaaba, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam also had qualities, advantages, you could almost say, that really developed him as a person. One of them is this fact that all of us are aware of, that Hazrat Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam was raised in the household of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yani, it's related in tradition that at the age of 5, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam goes to Hazrat Abu Talib, his uncle, and he says, Abu Talib, give this son of yours, Ali, to me that I may train him. Now, usually when we hear about this story, it's in the context of a famine that had affected Mecca. And Abu Talib's family was such a large family that different members of his extended family came and said, look, we'll take care of this child, this one will take care of this child. And then this way, Abu Talib was able to take care of his entire family without anybody facing the famine. I'd like to have you consider this story, this relation, this tradition, separate from the context of famine. Because certainly the famine did play a role in Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam coming and saying, let me raise Ali ibn Abi Talib. But it was by no means decisive or fundamental. Yani, Prophet was intimately involved in Ali's life and upbringing before this time. It wasn't like, something out of the ordinary. And I'll mention some of that to you this evening, right? For us to understand this request of Hazrat Rasulullah to Abu Talib concerning Imam Ali, we should look at it in this context. Fatima bint Asad, alayhi salam, the mother of Imam Ali, is actually a mother figure to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And a lot of us may forget that. But at the time that Prophet's mother passed away, it was Fatima bint Asad that filled that role for Prophet. In the same way that Ali will be raised in the household of Rasulullah from the age of 5, in the same way Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was raised in the house of Abu Talib alayhi salam, right? In the same fashion, with Abu Talib filling that figure of a father and Fatima bint Asad filling that figure of a mother. So for Rasulullah now to come and say, let me raise this child, it's not, and it shouldn't be looked at merely within the context of a famine. There's more going on here. And we're going to discuss that this evening. Let's continue. Send us salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Khayr. One thing that Imam Ali alayhi salam reminds Muawiyah in one of his letters to Muawiyah, he says to him, you know my position with the Prophet Muhammad. To me, this statement of Imam Ali, it's so full of meaning. When Imam Ali tells Muawiyah, you know my position with Prophet Muhammad, this means that Ali's position with Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was something that had been well established in the minds and in the memories of the people alive at that time. And if you look at many of the letters that Imam Ali sent, go to your Nahjul Balagha, and you look at many of the letters that Imam Ali sends to Muawiyah, or many of the times when Imam Ali, look for any letter of Imam Ali or sermon of Imam Ali where he's expressing his own status or the status of Ahl Bayt, you'll see him refer to his relationship with Prophet Muhammad in these terms. You all know my position. You all remember my position. And this gives the indication, just as Imam Ali is intending, that everybody witnessed this relationship between Imam Ali and Prophet Muhammad. And the reason, again, that it's been downplayed to this day, Muslims downplay this relationship, and downplaying of this relationship is based on that envy that we talked about last night. So in this discussion, in this letter that Imam Ali alayhi salam sends to Muawiyah, he says, you know my position with Hazrat Rasulullah. And this indicates that it was a well-known fact. Let's read on and see what Imam Ali has to say. He says, how near I was to him. He carried me in his arms. And in the Arabic, he says, ala sadrihi, yani on his chest. The reason I thought that this was so telling, right? You don't carry a 5-year-old on his chest. When he's saying this, ala sadrihi, he carried me in his arms and on his chest, this is giving the impression of how you carry a much smaller child. And I'll give you some context here. Something that was very prevalent to be seen by the people of Makkah in the childhood of Imam Ali, in his life with Hazrat Rasulullah, before he even moved in with Rasulullah, was they would see Hazrat Rasul carrying Ali in his arms and going up the mountain passes of Makkah and then coming down. And this was something that was frequently witnessed by the people of Makkah. This man carrying his cousin, which basically he's raising like a son, on his journeys into the desert, into the caves, into the mountains to meditate. Now we, as followers of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, we know that Prophet wasn't just killing time in the desert in the lead up to Ba'that. We know that every prophet undergoes a period of training and preparation for their mission before it's about to begin. And this was the true, for instance, of Musa, Hazrat Musa, why he goes and works with his father-in-law and gets kind of stuck there for years, taking care of sheep, right? One of the jobs that prophets frequently had to do, like it's a common career choice for prophets, is to be a shepherd. And there's a reason for that. And you can see it with this whole Corona-19 virus thing, right? People are not that dissimilar from sheep. And if you can learn how to take care of a large herd of sheep, for the most part, you can also take care of a large herd of sheeple. It's really not that much difference. And if you just look around you now, in the society around you now, with the lockdown and the what's it not going on, you can see it clearly that really all you need really in training to be a good leader is you have to be a good shepherd first. And so all prophets went through that period of training. What's telling here, Imam Ali's talking about, Prophet used to carry me in his arms and ala sadri, on his chest. This gives the impression of a young child being carried by an adult. And it's known that in Mecca he was seen being carried around by Prophet in this same fashion in going up to the mountains and coming down and going out to the wilderness and returning. The relationship between these two, Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is deep and well known. Let's continue. Send us salawat, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Ali goes on to say, he says, you know that I grew up in his lap and that he put me to bed at night with the care and love of a mother. These things, they touch me very emotionally. Because I can see Imam Ali writing this letter and thinking back to his childhood. And remembering that joyous upbringing in the presence of Hazrat Rasulullah. He says some things here that really will bring you to tears. He says, he put me to bed at night with the care and love of a mother. And you all know how much he loved me. Again, by Imam Ali telling Muawiyah, you all know how much he loved me. He's again impressing this aspect of his relationship with Prophet, that it was common knowledge at that time. And it was well established, the relationship between Imam Ali and the relationship between Prophet. Today we glance over it and rush over it and look at it like, well, it's just something ordinary. No! It's something deep, something amir, something full of meaning, something full of power that comes out of this relationship. And Imam Ali is reminding everyone of how well known this relationship was. You all know how much he loved me. How he would hug and kiss me, says Imam Ali. And this is the part that really brings tears to my eyes. He says, even smelling my hair. Those of you who are parents in the audience, you know how good a baby or a toddler's hair smells. Especially to a loved one, like a parent, someone who's caring for that child, who loves that child. The smell of a baby's hair is intoxicating. And Imam Ali makes reference to that. This is showing you that this wasn't an ordinary relationship. It was one of deep love, care, and attention. Let's continue. I mean, that's love when you read some of these things that's being said by Imam Ali. He says, as a child, Prophet would feed me by chewing the food first and then feeding me by hand. This is another indicator that Prophet's caring for Ali did not begin at the age of 5. Because you don't feed a 5-year-old this way. 5-year-olds got big, strong teeth in their mouth and they can bite their own meat. You only feed toddlers in this way, young children in this way. Like today we feed them baby food, right? Let's continue. He says, in my childhood, I never said a lie to him. And I never made a mistake. Allahu Akbar. Imam Ali says, I never lied to him. Not that Ali ever lied anyway, but here Ali is differentiating his relationship with Prophet from the relationship that other children may have with their parents. You know, let's be honest, sometimes we've told some white lies to our parents. You know, how did you, I was famous for this, I'm be honest, you know. How did you fall down? You can't tell them what you was doing, right? So you got to make an excuse. Or you're going to get beat more. Ali says, look, my relationship wasn't like that with Rasulullah. I never told a lie to him. And I never made a mistake. I mean, it's very telling about their relationship. One thing that I read into this, Imam Ali now is moving away now from the early childhood years in his description of his relationship towards that period of life where someone gets trained now. Now we're talking about 5 and above. Now Imam Ali is being trained by Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He goes on to say, I followed him like a baby camel follows its mother. Now of course, Imam Ali, because that's what he's surrounded with camels and other livestock, that's the example he uses. But we can look at the animals that are around us and we can see that the baby animal follows its mother diligently. And if that baby should lose sight of the mother, it's filled with anxiety and begins calling to the mother. But baby animal follows the mother step by step, footprint in footprint, with no alteration. That closeness is what Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is alluding to. And he says, and every day he taught me something new. Imam Ali is remembering the training that he received from Hazrat Rasulullah. And in another place, he says, I obeyed his commands and I followed his instructions. Again, Imam Ali is talking about that period of training for himself. And then he goes on to say, in another place, he says, Allah trained the Prophet, and the Prophet trained me. And this is what's so important about the position of Ali. Ali says this in another place, not in this same letter. He says, Allah trained the Prophet, and the Prophet trained me. And then he says, and I am to train all of the believers. While we're talking about training here, I think it's very important that we talk about this one particular aspect in the life of our children. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is describing in this short little reading that I've given to you his upbringing with Hazrat Rasulullah. And we all know this hadith that for the first 7 years of a child's life, that child is a prince or a princess. And for the second 7 years of that child's life, they're an abd, they're a servant. Now this indicates the time for them to begin getting trained intensively. Now I want to make something straight. That's not to say that in this first 7 years there's no training going on. There is training going on. From the time the child is born, that child is learning. Like a lot of times we look at little babies, right? That you notice how intently they look at you, intensely they keep their eyes on you. I mean, they watch you and they keep their eyes on their parents. My grandmother used to say when she'd see little babies like that, doing that, she'd say, they're marking you. And that's exactly what they're doing. Those children are memorizing everything about you. Don't think that not one little action escapes their attention. It's at this, even though we think, oh, they're babies, they're just looking. That's what you think. No, they look at you for a while and they pay deep attention to your face for a while and your expressions and what can be gleaned from that. Then they look away at the clock for a minute, but then they come right back to your face. They are learning at this phase of their existence, even though we don't think they are. This is how they learn how to read human beings. Happiness, joy, anger, whatever. They're learning expressions at this phase. And as they get older, growing in this first 7 years, they're learning more and more, even just by playing. I mean, playing is an instructional part of a child's life. And because I want to relate this to our lives in the West, playing is natural to the child. And I think that where we've gone wrong with our children, certainly where I may have gone wrong with my own children, is that, yes, playing is natural, but play what? What games do they play? Because children are going to play, and by this playing, they're going to learn and they're going to grow. We as parents have that responsibility to guide them even in the games that they play, and not just leave them alone, abandon them to just play whatever is being played in the society around us. Play is important. Even in those, you see like in Iran, right, they have those little children that have been learning and memorizing Quran from a young age. And one thing that I love about our ulama is they always encourage the parents of these children, let them play. Let them play. Don't stop them from playing. Not because this child is a Qari Quran, has memorized the Quran, and is the age of 7 or the age of 5, and then now you'd say, well, no, you're memorizing Quran, no play for you. No, children have to play, and the ulama will say they have to play. Let them play. But the question is, what game? And in the raising of our children, especially in these phases, we have to pay attention to what we're doing. Let's go on before I jump into my spiel, inshallah. Send a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. So this first 7 years of life, child should be treated like a prince or a princess. They should be, because it's in this age that they develop self-confidence. It's in this age that they develop esteem and self-esteem, right? And one of the worst things we can do is to really contract the child's growth and hold back the child's growth with a whole lot of rules and regulations at this time. Now, sure, the closer they get to the age of 7, the more intense the training gets, right? And at the age of 7, of course, that training now, that period of prince and princess is over. And now they have to go into intensified training, huh? In riwayat, it's mentioned that these 2 phases are the most important phases of educating our children. Our ulama say that if you can get a child to the age of 14 and you've completed your task in the first 7 and second 7 phases, then at the age of 14, this child is grown. Now, you don't have to worry about them too much. You have to guide them, advise them still, and give them some guidance still. But if you've done your job in these first 2 7-year phases, at the age of 14, you have what you have now. If that child is good and you've done your job, you have a good child. If you haven't done your job and that child is bad, then you make dua to Allah from here on out. No, really. That's it. Now, I'm talking about all this to make this clear, right? We should begin training and educating our children because they start learning and getting educated from birth. And in that first 7-year period of life, when they're a prince or a princess, we have to emphasize education and training, adab for them also. Definitely in that second 7-year phase till they're 14. But how do we do it in our culture? I mean, let's be honest with you. This is one of the big weaknesses that we have in our families. We almost entirely neglect these first 2 phases. The time when we want to start training our children is when they're 12, 13, and 14. Yani at the end of the time when we should say, okay, my job's done now, I did it. He's going to be good or bad. He's either going to be a good kid or a bad kid. And from here on out, it's up to Allah. We start training them at that phase when really the work's already done. They've already taken shape. They've already taken form. So one of the things that we can do to begin to reform our families and our society is to follow the prophetic advice in training and educating our children intensely in these first 2 7-year cycles. Because the way we've been doing it, approaching them now when they're 12 and 13 and 14 and trying to bring about those changes now, and sometimes even later. Like sometimes people want to they come and say, Sheikh, my child is really misbehaving. I want to bring him to you for you to talk to him. I'd be like, oh, mashallah, how old is the child? You know, I'm thinking like this is a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old or something. No, Sheikh, he's 17 and he doesn't listen to me. What, you're going to bring him to masjid and we're going to work miracles now? In the masjid, all of a sudden we're going to lay hands on him and heal him now. You wrecked him already. Let's be honest with ourselves. Because we didn't do our job in those first 2 7-year cycles, we ourselves have destroyed those children. Now we want to bring them to the masjid at 12, 13, 14 and say, hey, bache badiye, he's bad. Bizan. It's too late then. So we really have to reevaluate our upbringing of our children and have it conform to prophetic tradition. Because one of the issues that we're having with our young people is that when they're 14 now, we're trying to impress upon them the things that should have been impressed upon them when they were 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old. So, inshallah, tuck that in our hat so that we can work on that, inshallah. Because this is what Prophet did with Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali. Ali lived with his parents so that, look, if you look at the holistic nature of it all, it's beautiful, man. It's like Prophet, of course he didn't stay up late. Stay up late at night and plan it is for dummies like me, right? We got to stay up late and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And we take a note and we make a list. Hazrat Rasulullah, naturally, Imam Ali stays with his parents for the first 5 years. And we know for a fact that in the development of a child, that first 5 years should be spent in their mother's lap. I mean, we know this from child development, right? that the best place for a child to spend those first 5 years isn't in a Mahdi Kudak or a daycare center or a pre-K center. It's with mommy at home. And Imam Ali grows up with his parents till the age of 5. And he receives all of that maternal and paternal love and care and affection in his own home before he moves into the home of Hazrat Rasulullah and Hazrat Khadija alayhim as-salam. He moves in with them, and don't think that the love and care stops. Ali grows up in the home of Hazrat Khadija. He is showered with love. He grows up in a very stable environment. Prophet took over his training long before he was 7 years old and merely continued it in his lifetime. This relationship between Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is another aspect of the life of Imam Ali that will inspire envy. Just like we had mentioned last night. Look, this child was born in the Kaaba. You can't tell me that there weren't parents in town who were envious. Like, how come Abu Talib's son born in the Kaaba? How come my child couldn't be born in the Kaaba? Right? And the same way with Muslims and early Muslims, they were envious of the relationship, in many cases, that Prophet had with Imam Ali. That Ali grew up in the household of Prophet. Ali goes so far as to say, I slept in the bed with Prophet as a mother sleeps with their child, and I was surrounded by the scent of Prophet. Ali is sharing with you memories of his childhood, letting you know how he grew up. Just like me and you have memories of laying in our mother's bed and having our mother's scent in our nose. How much joy that brings to us. Ali is remembering that also when he mentions that. This is the upbringing that Ali had in the household of Hazrat Rasulullah. And this also inspires a certain amount of envy in people. Very quickly, and as we close up for this evening, I want to explain something. What's going on with Imam Ali? It happens to many of us today. And it might be useful to many of our young Muslim brothers and sisters. You're going to find that because you're trying to be good, that because you're attempting to be a better person, some people are going to hate you. And, we come across these instances and we say like, well, why does this person hate me? I never did anything to them. Why are they so angry at me? Oh, they just don't like Muslims. They don't like me because I pray, or they don't like me because I'm a Muslim. Or in the case of our sisters, they don't like me because I wear a scarf. This may be the case sometimes. Many times, though, there's an envy that's at work there. And if you remember what we had mentioned about envy is a feeling of discontent and longing because of qualities or possessions that others have. One thing we have to realize is that the human nafs, the human self, longs for righteousness. It longs for Noor, for light, for illumination, to wake up, to grow. And all these things that we want spiritually in Islam, naturally the human being wants those things. And sometimes, because of our attempt to be good people, it can incite envy and hatred in the hearts of other people. They don't like you simply because they are so far gone. Your attempt at righteousness rubs them the wrong way. It excites in them an envy for your qualities. They, deep inside, they wish they could be that they could do that. A lot of times our sisters take off the hijab because of some of this hate that they're feeling. And I want to let those sisters know, a lot of times this hate that you're encountering that might make you feel like you should take off your scarf, it's a hate that's rooted in envy. They want what you have. And it burns them that they don't have it. And so they flex hate your way. And the same is true for our young brothers. We come under a lot of social pressure in this country and in this culture and in this environment. And a lot of us have to recognize that a great deal of this social pressure is based on envy. Shortcomings in other people that they know they have, and they hate you for trying to be better. And this is exactly the type of envy that Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam was faced with. People were envious of his qualities, envious of his position, envious of his good fortune to be raised in the presence of Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this envy turned to hatred, and a lot of the things that we find so amazing about Imam Ali's life have been gleaned over simply based on this envy that has turned to hatred. Inshallah, we'll continue our discussion tomorrow night, inshallah. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should have mercy on our souls. Ya Allah, forgive us of our sins. Guide us to your straight path. Set firm our feet in your path. Strengthen our limbs in your service. Hasten the appearance of your Imam and make us his helpers and supporters upon his return. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمِ صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So if there's any questions or answers, if you have any questions or answers, please send them in now. Feel free, inshallah. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You look like you got an answer.
I got a question.
Okay, hit me.
What would a miracle be today if somebody were to come, like a prophet come today?
That'd be interesting. He might have to be, if there was a prophet to come today, he'd have to be some kind of programmer. Or maybe, here's a whole nother flip side of it, to look at it that way, right? They also come with what the people need. So maybe he'd be a spiritualist. And like his whole emphasis might be on ma'nawiyat. Because when we look at the world around us today, we have everything. We got all types of technology. But we're really undeveloped in ma'nawiyat, in spirituality and meaning in life, right? So he might come with something like that, yeah. I couldn't begin to guess though, because today the world is so multifaceted, you know what I mean? But we can look also at what's needed from our ulama, like to answer that question, because we say, there's a hadith that says that the ulama of my, Prophet said, the ulama of my nation, the scholars of my nation, are like the prophets of Bani Israel, right? They have the same status as the prophets of Bani Israel. So really, when you look at our ulama today, we see what do they need. And I mean, just very quickly, I'll just go off track while more questions come in. Like, we train our ulama in usul and fiqh and Arabic and all these things, and they have to be trained in that, right? But then when they come back here to America, I mean, Sayyidah is here with me as my example. Maybe 5 times a year, I get really a tough fiqh question. Most of the fiqh questions that I get from people, they could easily answer if they just open their Tawzil Masail. If they just open the book of their Marja Taqlid and just look through it themselves, they could answer those questions. 95% of the questions I get, people can answer themselves if they just read a little bit. 5% of the questions are a little bit more tough and good. We studied a little fiqh, or we got people like Sayyid we can call and be like, yo, what's the answer? I don't know, right? But you know what we get more than fiqh? Relationship issues, family issues, religious issues, spiritual issues, mental issues. And the ulama aren't trained for that at all. Like, nobody comes out of Hausa with a therapist's certificate or a psychologist certificate or a family therapist certificate, whatever, right? Nope, they come out with usul al-fiqh and, bahs kharij and these type of things, but we don't need that here, really. By and large, most of the stuff we run into is stuff that you're not trained for in Hausa al-Miyah. So if we look at what our ulama need, then we might get an idea of what a prophet would come with today, or what our ulama need to come with today, which kind of lines up with what we were saying, like ma'nawiyat, I don't know.
So a question is, what book are the stories of Imam Ali's upbringing written in? So if someone wants to go research, and I'm assuming this is going to be in the English language, where can they look?
I can tell you, I mean, most of the stuff that I've read, some of it's in English, a lot of it's in Persian. I would advise them to check out alislam.org. alislam.org is a very good resource, and you can find a lot of good information on that website about Imam Ali's upbringing. Really, believe it or not, Nahjul Balagha has been a very good source for me, because Imam Ali speaks a lot about his relationship with Prophet. And like, for instance, this letter, portion of this letter that I read for you tonight is from Nahjul Balagha, right? Where he speaks of his upbringing with Prophet. Kitab al-Irshad also is another good book, although it's kind of rushed over in that book. Kitab al-Irshad also is another good book to look at these things. And there's a few books out there. Also, a Google search. And if you speak another language, this is what I'm telling people, right? Like, because it's a few years ago now that I found this out. But when I first got on the internet, I didn't know that they had internet in other languages. No, I don't know. I was just kind of naive that way. And then one day somebody told me, no, they got internet in Arabic and Persian. I was like, what? It opened like a whole 2 more universes for me. And so if you speak another language, don't just limit your Google search to your language, like English. Do one in Urdu, do one in Persian, do one in Arabic, whatever your language is, because a lot of stuff pop up there. But the problem with Google searches is you got to sift through the information, because there's a lot of bogus stuff on there, right? And so you got to be able to sift through the information. But I think I've given some good resources, inshallah.
I'm going to do a shameless plug. The Lives of the 12 that we published is actually, a lot of these stories that you were mentioning, it's actually in there.
Wow, the Lives of the 12, says Sayyid. So please check us out online. Buy your copy today. Subscribe and like and hit the notification button below, inshallah.
Question number 2 or 3. Are there any limitations parents should put on children during the first 7 years? Because you mentioned that in the hadith, it mentions that, for example, they are the Sayyid, they are the master, they're the king, they're the princess, right? Are there any limitations that we should be putting on the kids at all?
Of course there's limitations, like you want to keep them safe and unharmed and happy and these things. So any limitations that we put on there for their security, it's just fine. I'd also like to say that this period of princedom and princessdom, it really doesn't last for the entire 7 years. I'd like to just make that clear. It's not like we just spoil the kid rotten till they're 7 years old, which really is pretty big. If you were to do this till they're 7 years old, you might end up with a tyrant or a monster on your hands. The closer we get to the age of 7, the more limitations that we may put onto a child. Like when they're little, and they want to do something, leave them do it. Look, you want to play with the phone? Play with the phone. You want to play in the mud? Play in the mud. You want to climb? Leave them. But the older they get and the closer to 7 that they get, the more we do have to guide them and train them, the closer they get to that phase. So it's not set and hard. It's like overlapping circles. It's not that we go till 7. And then at 7 now, we're going to make that drastic change from prince and princess to slave. I wouldn't advise it. It's going to be a big shock for the child, and it'll be difficult for the parents. Phase it. Natural. Islam is a religion of balance. And so we ourselves, we know that at a certain age, the child don't understand reasoning. One of my mentors, Dr. Kareem Abdul-Ghani, he used to always tell me that little kids, they're more like animals than they are like humans. They're all nafs. So leave them. Let them be nafsi. But you yourself as a parent, you know that when they get older, how much they need to start controlling that nafs now. Like what's appropriate for a 3-year-old may not be appropriate for a 5-year-old. What's appropriate for a 2-year-old is not appropriate for a 6-year-old. Right? And so there's differentiation that has to be made as these children grow, inshallah.
There's a request to repeat the question after I repeat, because my voice isn't clear.
Oh, okay.
So if you could repeat.
I will.
The question that came in is, what are some practical steps that we can take in raising our children in today's world? Many parents are both working full-time and they have very little time to spend with their kids.
Question, to reiterate the question, what are some practical suggestions that we can give in raising our children nowadays, especially with parents working as hard as they do have to work, right? So I know I'm just cutting it short a little bit. Did I miss anything out? No. Okay. Very quickly, I'm going to say work less. I'm sorry. And I'm going to give you something from my own personal experience, right? When we work so hard as to provide a livelihood for children, that means that we don't have the time to train them and educate them and raise them in the way that's appropriate and fit for young Muslims. So, for instance, if a father is working full time, let's just say 6 or 7 days a week, right? That father can't give the time necessary for training and education to that child that may be necessary. He's going to be relying on his wife to fill in the blanks. And that's completely acceptable, right? Sometimes daddy has to work and mommy has to hold down the house. Mommy has to be the one that's training that child in those preliminary things, right? While things clear up. Imagine now, if mommy's not strong, if mommy's not well educated, if mommy's not motivated, these are all things that we can face. It gets even worse. What if mommy's busy? What if mommy's working? So the training and education of this child immediately falls into danger in this way. And I would say that the first thing that we have to practical step that we can take towards providing a good education, training and raising of our children is live on less. And I mean, I don't know a nice way to say it. And I'm not saying people are living lavish and cushy lives, but we need to live on less, and we need to cut back on some of the things that we're doing so that we can give time to our children and to our families, because that time cannot be regained. And I mean, the reason I say I speak from my own personal experience, I'll just throw this out there. I got an 18-year-old daughter, but for 8 years I've worked 6-7 days a week. And so you tell me now, what effect have I had on that young lady? Working 6-7 days a week. And so we have to realize that we can live on less, and we should live on less because our children need that. So that's one practical advice that I can give in doing that. It's very necessary that at least one parent be a full-time parent, at least till that child goes to school, till that child starts like regular school. It's important that one child, that one parent be home, preferably mama, be home with that child till they start school. Full-time mothering is something absolutely necessary. I don't think that our ladies really understand how important mothers are. So the other advice that I'd give is, let's bring mamas back into style. Like, not baby mamas, not that stuff. We want real life mommies at home that love and care for and raise and educate and train children. We need real mommies at home, and we need to bring mommy back into style. These are two things that I can think off the top of my head. The other things I think we've mentioned,
And the final question is, what are some spiritual lessons that we can impart on our children when they're young?
This is really good. What spiritual lessons can we impart on our children when they're young? Children are way more spiritual than we give them credit for. And they understand spirituality much more than we think they do. When we get older and jaded is when we need dalil. So I get older and I get some gray hairs in my beard, and now you got to prove everything to me. Children don't need that much proof. And so one of the things that's advised, like from the time a child is old enough to where they start wearing their parents' clothes and pretending to be older, right? Then you start teaching them about Allahu Akbar. Just as an example, it's one of the things that was told to us by one of our teachers, right? That's the time to start teaching about the greatness of Allah, because they understand greatness now. It just so happens that the greatest thing in their world is their parents. So they're emulating and imitating their parents by putting on their clothes and pretending to be mommy or daddy. But this shows that they understand what is greatness, and it shows that they understand that their destination, what they're aiming for in life, is greatness. They already understand that, and they're expressing that by dressing up like mommy or daddy, right? So now this is the time, they say, to teach them about Allahu Akbar, that Allah is the greatest. And children grasp these concepts just fantastically. If you tell a child Allah is one, and He's everywhere, and He can hear you, but you can't see Him, Man, they understand that easy. Easy. I mean, one time, one of my children was about to turn 1, right? And we were giving one lesson to the other kids. We were like, Allah is one. And then my daughter said, Allah is one? Like Abbas? Kind of. He's one like that. Kind of. Right? And they know what one is. And they know what one means. And now you just have to tell them how this one applies to Allah. And they get it real easy, man. It's only when we get older and jaded that we need proof and break it down for me and make a list. Children understand it very easily. You can teach children most any spiritual thing that you want to teach them. Just bring it down on their level and they'll grasp it faster than you think they will. Because they're pure. Yeah. Any other questions?
And let me just do one final check. I don't think.
No? Then send a loud salawat and we'll call it a night. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Majil faraj. Dua faraj. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجه. خير. Okay. Brother Tawheed.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
إنا أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه أن أنذر قومك من قبل أن يأتيهم عذاب أليم. قال يا قوم إني لكم نذير مبين أن اعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون يغفر لكم من ذنوبكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى إن أجل الله إذا جاء لا يؤخر لو كنتم تعلمون. قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا ثم إني دعوتهم جهارا ثم إني أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا فقلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ويجعل لكم أنهارا ما لكم لا ترجون لله وقارا وقد خلقكم أطوارا ألم تروا كيف خلق الله 7 سماوات طباقا وجعل القمر فيهن نورا وجعل الشمس سراجا والله أنبتكم من الأرض نباتا ثم يعيدكم فيها ويخرجكم إخراجا والله جعل لكم الأرض بساطا لتسلكوا منها سبلا فجاجا قال نوح رب إنهم عصوني واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارا ومكروا مكرا كبارا وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا وقد أضلوا كثيرا ولا تزد الظالمين إلا ضلالا مما خطيئاتهم أغرقوا فأدخلوا نارا فلم يجدوا لهم من دون الله أنصارا وقال نوح رب لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا إنك إن تذرهم يضلوا عبادك ولا يلدوا إلا فاجرا كفارا رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات ولا تزد الظالمين إلا تبارا.